from an oil field in South Sudan. Unfortunately, it crashed shortly after takeoff, and those that were on board were employees of an oil company. It is reported that 20 of them have already died. At first, 18 had been reported killed, but later on, 2 that had sustained serious injuries also died shortly after they succumbed to their injuries, and 1 remains but also in critical condition. That's the news that we gathered from South Sudan, and it's really sad news, and for the families that have lost their own, we say may their souls rest in eternal peace. Good morning, Jerome Paul.
Well, good morning, Olive, and good morning to our dear viewer. And there is an intensifying situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Olive and Robert. I do believe that you are also following up. But when you look at the latest developments coming in, especially from the eastern DRC, besides the developments of over 250 machineries being able to, besides the over 253 close to 288, by the way, machineries, Romanian machineries, being captured by the M23 rebels. There is also a new development coming in between South Africa and Rwanda. And yesterday, the Rwandese president, that is President Paul Kagame, using his X handle, came out and revealed that he had 2 conversations with the president of South Africa, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, and using his X handle, Paul Kagame also revealed that the media has been revealing certain lies to the masses, not only the media, but he also revealed that some of the political actors in this kind of situation are also selling propaganda. And amongst the things he noted in his X was a few important clarifications that the Rwanda Defense Force is an army, not a militia, as many claim. And then he also noted that President Ramaphosa has never given him any warning of any kind, unless it was delivered in his local language, which President Paul Kagame does not understand. And also, President Paul Kagame revealed that President Ramaphosa confirmed to him that M23 did not kill the soldiers from South Africa, but FADC did. And there are more and more developments coming in from there. But as today morning, this was what was updated by the President Paul Kagame just yesterday evening. So you can easily see that a lot of developments are coming in from there, and the entire attention is on 2 countries as of now, DRC and Rwanda.
And it's really sad, the news coming in, because, Jerome, as you know, when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. Whereas these 2 countries, Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, are at loggerheads, guess who is suffering right now? The people of DRC.
Yes.
You've seen how many of them are trying to escape whatever is happening there. Most of them coming to Uganda, becoming refugees, because 2 countries or 2 leaders can't agree, or there are counter accusations on either side. Now, when it comes to the Romanian mercenaries that were arrested and being processed and to be repatriated to Romania by Rwanda, Rwanda has criticized DRC's over-reliance on foreign mercenaries. But then Congo is saying that these are not mercenaries, they are military personnel that were contracted to train the Congolese army, FADC. So we don't know who is telling the truth, but that's what is happening in the DRC. Well, so much more is also happening here in Uganda, and we'll share that just in a second in our local news.
We'll begin with Uganda police, which have moved to enforce the sub-county policing model. The Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagava, while briefing the media, reiterated on the factors that President Museveni based on to issue an Executive Order 3 of 2023, which birthed the model. At least, police have redeployed 10,000 police officers in the implementation of the sub-county policing model. Under this model, each sub-county is set to receive 18 police personnel with commanding officer at the sub-county, investigation officer from CID, officer from crime intelligence, and liaisons officer. The implementation of this model is stemmed from the presidential executive order which President Yoweri Museveni ordered for the enhancement of community policing to curb criminality. At the beginning, police are prioritizing 8 policing regions with 49 districts and 591 sub-counties. Police are set to finalize the countrywide rollout by 15th of February this year. The operationalization of the program has taken shape with recognition and rationalization of the existing UPDF resources. The police structures are expected to remain the same, though deployment of officers is expected to change, and they will prioritize the success of government-initiated development programs working with leaders in those regions. The sub-county policing model, SCPM, was adopted from the strategic guidance by President Yoweri Museveni in his address to the 25th Annual Police Council meeting held at police headquarters on the 19th of November 2019.
And President Yoweri Museveni has reiterated his government's continued advocacy towards sports to benefit the largely youthful Ugandan population. This was during the groundbreaking ceremony of Akibua Olympic Stadium in Lira that is lined up as part of Uganda's facilities ahead of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. It's joy unconfined in many areas of Lango region following the groundbreaking ceremony of Akibua Olympic Stadium in Lira as President Yoweri Museveni was flanked by the First Lady and the Minister for Education and Sports, Janeti Museveni. Now, Akibua's Olympic Stadium is President Museveni's pledge that came as a result of the wonders by homeboy Akibua, who was Uganda's first Olympic gold medalist. The now deceased former Uganda police officer John Akibua ran to the 400 meters hurdles at the 1972 Olympic Games in Germany, with which he won gold in a then world record of 47.82 seconds. His achievement not only elevated him to global status, but also highlighted Uganda as a nation that is intent on sports promotion. Now, that gold medal that he won before a global audience transcended generations, and is the reason President Museveni, who is a renowned sports person, recognized his efforts and advised a stadium in his name. Now, this stadium will now become a reality after a presidential groundbreaking at which President Museveni committed towards sports infrastructure to grow the sector that can absorb millions of youth into gainful employment. The groundbreaking ceremony was also attended by the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sport, who spoke fondly about the upcoming CHAN and AFCON tournaments, plus government's insistence on sports. The local area leadership that once had a slogan of "No Akibua, no votes" now confirmed total support to the government, because this project will not only cater for sports in future, but also employment during its construction. This $129 million stadium that is expected in 20 months is seated on 36 acres and will be a 20,000-seater that will have football pitches with 1 athletics track, a multi-purpose court, tennis court, hostel, and mixed-use building, and a 5-a-side football playground, among others.
And still on our local scene, government of Uganda is committed to ensuring that the Great Lakes region is peaceful. This follows the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the March 23, commonly known as the M23 rebels, attacked various institutions in Goma, including Ugandan embassy. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, John Mulimba, told Parliament that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and government of Uganda remains available to participate in regional peace initiatives to ensure cessation of hostilities as soon as possible. Government of Uganda is assessing the practical means of providing emergency services to Ugandan nationals in DRC, despite the confirmation by the DRC government that the situation is under control. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayewa, excused MPs from debating the statement by Minister Mulimba to avoid distortion.
And lastly, from our local news, the Ministry of Internal Affairs has established an ongoing trade of Ugandan passports in the United Arab Emirates. The spokesperson, Simon Peter Monday, says cartels are using Ugandan passports in Asia to smuggle drugs. Upon reporting cases of missing passports and those intending to replace passports, the Ministry of Internal Affairs instituted an investigation where a lucrative business of trading Ugandan passports was revealed. Dealers have contacts in Uganda who guys into the business labor export and confiscate passports of Ugandans, while others buy them from a range of 10 million Ugandan shillings. Now, the ministry established operation office in Dubai dealing in the trade of Ugandan passports, and these particular passports are believed to be used by cartels in Asia while transporting drugs. The ministry tightened conditions to replace a passport from abroad, and in the launched operations, the immigration working with police arrested one Andrew Sechimuli, who has defrauded a reasonable number of Ugandans and other accomplices still on the run. Now, the ministry discovered that some desperate Ugandans are applying for passports with the intention of selling them to individuals posing as traders.
Now, moving on to news outside of the continent, U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the construction of a migrant detention facility in Guantanamo Bay, which he said would hold as many as 30,000 people. He said the facility at the U.S. Navy base in Cuba, which would be separate from its high-security military prison, would house the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Guantanamo Bay has long been used to house immigrants, a practice that has been criticized by some human rights groups. Later on Wednesday, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, said the existing facility there would be expanded and run by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. He said the migrants could be transported there directly after being intercepted at sea by the U.S. Coast Guard, and that the highest detention standards would be applied. It is unclear how much the facility will cost or when it would be completed. Cuba's government swiftly condemned the plan, accusing the U.S. of torture and illegal detention on occupied land. Trump's announcement came as he signed the so-called Laken-Riley Act into law, which requires undocumented immigrants who are arrested for theft or violent crimes to be held in jail pending a trial. Now, moving on, Israel is scheduled to release 110 Palestinian prisoners, including 30 children, and Hamas will release 8 captives in Gaza, including 5 Thai nationals and 3 Israelis, in the third exchange between the two sides later today. An Israeli airstrike killed at least 10 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank town of Tamon as Israel's military intensifies operations in the occupied territory. More than 500,000 Palestinians have returned to northern Gaza, where people are waiting for more aid to enter the enclave, Al Jazeera's team on the ground reports. Israel's ban on the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, in occupied East Jerusalem, Gaza and the occupied West Bank is due to start today. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 47,417 Palestinians and wounded 100,571 since October 7, 2023, and at least 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the Hamas-led attacks that day, and more than 200 were taken captive. Now, coming back to Africa, at least 20 people have been killed in a plane crash in the north of South Sudan, Unity State's Minister for Information said. The aircraft came down near the oil fields in the Unity State at about 10:30 a.m. shortly after taking off for the capital, Juba, on Wednesday. The plane crashed 500 meters from the airport. 21 people were on board. As for now, there is only one survivor, Gatwech Bipal, both told AFP news agency. All of the passengers, 16 South Sudanese, 2 Chinese nationals and 1 Indian, are employees of the Greater Pioneer Operating Company. Bipal added that the aircraft was on a routine mission to the area. Earlier, the United Nations Radio Miraya reported that the pilots and co-pilots were among those killed. Pictures shared on social media showed the crumpled aircraft upside down in a field, debris spread across the area. Overloading of planes is common in South Sudan and was believed to have contributed to the 2015 crash of an Antonov plane in Juba that killed 36 people. And that does it for our local and international news. And now let's have a look at the newspapers from Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania.
Well, in today's New Vision, you can take a look and see the best PLE teachers and the skills that they use to help the learners excel. At the front page, 8 faces, inclusive of which is a female in Letitia Navidie, who is the second best teacher of English from Seta Junior School, Mukono. The front page also highlights Amos Niwandinda, who is from Nyachibare Parents School in Rukunjiri. Then there is also Joseph Mukasa, SST teacher from Katovu Highway Primary School in Rengo. Then there is someone from Mukono in Sowedi Chintu, St. Francis Educational Center. Patrick Wanzusi, SST from Kaso Junior School, Kampala. Then there is Stephen Ayelu, Mbalala Mukono, then Grace Chitamerike, who is from Kampala as well, and then Ismail Tumwebaze from Kasese. Now, tragedy, the ISO boss, Brigadier Oluka, dead. Find details in the New Vision. Now, PDM impact in Lira impresses President Museveni, a pictorial of the President and the First Lady at the front page of the New Vision today. Now, the Harvest Money Expo, don't miss tips on making animal feeds. Now, also a special tribute by the New Vision. Today is Thursday. Throwback it is, but also in the same spirit. On the 30th in 1948, the 30th of January, Mahatma Gandhi, the political and spiritual leader of the Indian independence movement, was assassinated in New Delhi by a Hindu extremist on January 30th, 1948. Gandhi, who is an anti-colonial nationalist, employed nonviolent resistance to lead a successful campaign for India's independence from British rule. He inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. And there you have it. In Kenya, though, Daily Nation, scandal of doctored census data. Now, the numbers cancellation is a big win for northeastern leaders. Now, the population roar in between the line is that for the past 5 years, Kenya has been making financial and policy decisions for 3 counties, that is Garissa, Mandera and Wajir, based on false data. Now, the High Court has now cancelled the 2019 Kenya National Bureau of Statistics census for the 3 northeastern counties, citing significant irregularities, and ordered a recount within a year. This is well ahead of the 2027 polls. Now, also in matters politics, Kindiki tells of Gachagua of a Ruto one-term call as he plans Mount Kenya tours. Now, in devolution, governors reject new revenue sharing plan over funding cuts to counties. And in education, court halts registration for July KCSE exams pending hearing of case. Now, President Tshisekedi snaps Ruto meeting for SADC forum. At the front page is the Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi. Now, there's also something to do with Trump's 8 freeze, a wake-up call for African nations, Uhuru advises. Then hustlers to hustlers. Now, trembling evolution of Kenya beach boys. They are a security threat, a new development has found. Now, lastly, from the press review is the Citizen. In Tanzania, leaders hold non-stop talks to end raging clashes in the DRC. Now, Chadema leaders retreat to reaffirm no reforms, no election demand. Now, in business matters energy, Tanzania to cut cooking gas prices and also boost access. Then Nyazanga Gold Project stalled amid ongoing talks with government as leaders hold non-stop talks to end raging clashes in the DRC. As Tanzania, Burundi agreed to start a 5 trillion Tanzanian shillings standard gauge railway project. And then also, Parliament delays special status for Tanzanian diaspora. And that does it for our press review this Thursday.
Well, today is Throwback Thursday, and I've been looking at the history of Uganda and the events that occurred in the month of January. Now, in January, back in the 60s, that's when former President Milton Obote, when he was still Prime Minister, said they would be restricting political parties in the country. And then on 25th January, that's when, in 1971, Idi Amin Dada overthrew the then government. And then, of course, on the 26th of January 1986, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni came into power with the NRA team. So a lot happened in Uganda in the month of January. What are you throwing back to today? I'm curious to know. That being said, let's throw back to a song that a man sang for his wife, calling her the African Queen. But this week, he announced they're getting a divorce. Here is African Queen by Two-Face.
Doesn't change the fact that she's an African queen.
Let me take this time to welcome our very special guest. They don't come bigger than this. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome one of the greatest musicians out of Africa, Mr. Innocent Idibia, aka Tubaba.
Just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. And the only one I ever see with a smile so bright. And just yesterday, you came around my way. You changed my whole scenery with your astonishing beauty. You couldn't make a brother sing, no ordinary thing, a supernatural thing. And no, you're brighter than the moon, brighter than the star. I love you just the way you are. Girl, you are my African queen. I say you are the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling. You are my African queen. Say you are the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, girl. And that is the African beauty. I saw this story go. I saw this story go. Ooh. See, out of a million, you stand as one. We are standing one. I look into your eyes, and what I see is paradise. You captivated my soul. Now every day I want you more. I cannot deny this feeling that I'm feeling inside. Hey, no one cannot take your place. You cannot take your space. It is a fact I cannot erase. And no, you are the one that makes me smile. Make me float like a boat upon the Nile. Well, you are my African queen. I say you are the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been, girl. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling. Yeah, you are my African queen. I say you are the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, girl. And that is the African beauty. Oh.
Shemu, Bianca is not for sales.
Of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
Get all the chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.